Yes, hit it. Come on, help Daddy sing a verse.
I'm going to sing a little bit. I said I went to my brother. Oh, yeah. And I said, brother, said I went to my brother. Oh, and my brother, said, brother, said I went to my brother. Oh, said he knocked me down, knocked me all the way down on my knees. And it's been true, said he knocked me down, knocked me all the way down. And I'm not afraid to die. I know what's waiting on me up there beyond the sky. Said it's been a long time coming. Said it won't be like this always, but still I know, yeah. Long time coming. Said we've been made to it for a night, but come in the morning. Long time but I know a change is gonna come. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it will.
Thank you. We are 601 Live.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all so much.
We love y'all
so much.
Mike Espy.
Blow those horns one more time for Mike Espy. Thank you guys again. We are 601 Live. Everybody, make sure you go vote November 3rd.
All right, let's make some noise for the 601 band. Blow those horns. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, blow those horns again, the 601 band. I got to tell y'all, this is pretty cool. I was thinking all day, what is this really going to look like, right? How is this going to really roll out? But this is really cool. So one more time, make some noise for the 601 band. So I'm excited about being here tonight. Really excited about being here tonight. We've got one job in November. One job, right? One job in November. November 3rd is extremely important. You're going to hear that theme throughout tonight. I'm Arthur Kane. I'm excited to be here to kind of guide the program alone. We thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us. Listen out, we cannot let the night go by, and you'll hear this throughout the night as well. If you have a donation, a contribution that you would like to give to the Espy for Senate campaign, there are envelopes. Volunteers have envelopes. You can blow your horn, stick it out your window, and folk in the Mike Espy t-shirts will come by and pick them up, all right? Because none of this, running a campaign isn't cheap, right? It's not easy and it's not cheap, all right? So we want to make sure you do that. Can you blow your horns for that? How about that? How about that? Can you blow your horns for that? All right. All right, we really want you to do that. So we thank you again very much. Got a very exciting night ahead, a very exciting night planned for you. But to kick things off, right, we've got to do things decent and in order, right? We're at church. So let's bring up Pastor Robert Lowry. He is the pastor at Fundred Presbyterian Church here in Jackson. Blow your horns and greet Pastor Lowry as he comes.
Before I offer what I promised would be my brief, nonpartisan prayer, let me make one partisan statement and say how proud I am to be up here tonight supporting Mike Espy, the next senator from Mississippi. A man I've admired for 30 years, and I cannot wait to see him in Washington, D.C. Friends, as you feel called, I invite you to join me in a word of prayer. David sings to us in the Psalms that weeping may last the night, but joy cometh in the morning. Eternal One, we are living in a night of weeping in our nation. It seems that everywhere we turn, the dark night of weeping surrounds us. A virus we cannot see, storms we cannot avoid, communities crying out to be seen and heard and valued. The structures and systems of injustice that add yet another name: Trayvon, Breonna, George, Jacob, to the roll call of the wages of the sin of our nation. There is weeping in our world, O God, so much weeping in our world. But a sunrise of hope is on the horizon, and joy cometh in the morning. In a world so seduced by division, we stand together in the struggle toward unity. In a world so tolerant of intolerance, we stand in the light of equality. In a world addicted to building walls that set brother against brother and sister against sister, we stand in the radiant light of God's prophet, whose call to the holy and righteous work of justice rings as true today as it did that day in the shadow of our nation's power, when he charged us all to hew from the mountain of despair a stone of hope. May our work shape that stone, and may that hope be the foundation of a bright, new, just, and joyful tomorrow. May we see in one another nothing less than the full dignity of a child of God, and may we expect from one another nothing less than the holy struggle for justice. These are the prayers of our heart and of our hope. Amen. Prayers of our heart and of our hope. Amen.
All right, we thank Pastor Lowry for that. At this point, I think it's very appropriate that we just pause for a moment of silence, because I think that we have all reached a point that enough is enough of all the racial injustice that's happening around this country. So as we remember Jacob Blake tonight and what they're dealing with in Kenosha, let's pause for a moment of silence. Amen, amen, amen. I can tell you this. I had an opportunity to interview Senator Espy the other day, and he is committed to leading those tough conversations in safe spaces as we deal with the climate that's happening across this country. Right now, we're going to toss to video, and we'll hear from Reverend C.J. Rhodes, who's the pastor of Mount Helm Baptist Church here in the capital city. Deal with the climate that's happening across this country. Right now, we're going to toss to video. That's happening across this country. Right now, we're going to that's happening across this country. So we are in a virtual space. This is a virtual climate, and things happen. We're going to try to come back to the video of Pastor C.J. Rhodes. Following C.J. Rhodes, we're going to toss the video of the mayor. Virtual space. This is a. Are we ready? No. C.J. Rhodes, we're going to toss the video of the mayor. Virtual space. This is a. Are we ready? No. Rhodes, we're going to toss the video in a virtual space. This is a. Are we ready? No. Rhodes, we're going to toss the video in a virtual space. This is a. Are we ready? No. Rhodes, we're going to toss the video in a virtual space. This is a. Are we ready? All right, we'll try to come back to that. Right now, though, we're going to bring up Judge Tyree Irving. Let me tell you something. It has been a very, very long time since I've been able to make a public declaration that I'm excited about the Democratic Party. I'm excited about this ticket that's happening. I am absolutely elated by what's going on. I'm elated by the energy. I'm elated by the new leadership of the Democratic Party. Let's welcome the brand new chair of the Democratic Party for the state of Mississippi. Please welcome Judge Tyree Irving. Blow those horns.
Hello, Mississippi Democrats. Hello, Mississippi Democrats. Are you ready for history one more time? Are you ready to do what is necessary to elect Mike Espy to the U.S. Senate this fall? Let me just say how happy I am as chairman of the Mississippi Democratic Party to be partnering with the Mike Espy for Senate campaign to bring victory to Mississippi, relief to Mississippi. I told somebody not long ago when I was asked, do you think Mike Espy can do it? I said, no, I don't think it. I know he can. If there is anybody in Mississippi can do it, Mike can do it, and we are going to do it this November. We're going to do whatever it takes to not only get around the restrictions that we face because of COVID-19 and the coronavirus. We're going to amp up the digital program. We're going to put on the protective gear, and we're going to knock on doors. We're going to register people like you have never seen before, because we know that there are enough votes out there who are not registered and who are registered but have not been actively participating in the political process. They are hungry for a change. At the party's headquarters, I've been getting calls all week from folks saying, and let me just tell you this, black and white, what can I do? What can I do? We need some relief. So there's a spirit in the air, and people understand it, that here in Mississippi, it is time for a change. Mike Espy represents that change, and the Mississippi Democratic Party will stand hand in hand with him to make sure it happens this November. But not only Mike, but all Democrats that are running this November, the Mississippi Democratic Party is going to do whatever is necessary to send a clarion call across this land that Mississippi is no longer last, that Mississippi is about to make a change. Thank you, and remember, keep registering voters, keep registering voters, and we'll bring home the victory in November. Thank you.
All right, one more time, make some noise for Judge Tyree Irvin. Thank you very much. We certainly do appreciate them. All right, so most of you are not as geographically challenged as I am, but here's what I do know. We are standing, or you're sitting in your vehicles, or folk are walking around in the 2nd Congressional District of the state of Mississippi, right? The 2nd Congressional District of the state of Mississippi. Y'all know what that means, right? This is United States Congressman Benny Thompson's district. Absolutely. He is on the ballot on Tuesday, November the 3rd. That's a part of your one job. All right. Can you imagine all of the great things that Congressman Thompson is doing? Can you imagine him having some help on the Senate side from someone who understands Mississippi, who knows Mississippi, right? And who can help rebrand the image of Mississippi. So make sure you vote Congressman Benny Thompson on Tuesday, November 3rd. All right, we're going to try this video thing again. And if it doesn't work this time, I'm just going to say throw the whole video away. Let's try to toss now to Pastor C.J. Rhodes from Mount Helm Baptist Church. Yeah, if it doesn't work this time, I'm going to toss now to Pastor C.J. Rhodes. Pastor C.J. Rhodes. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say toss the whole thing. Not yet. I'm almost there, though. I'm almost there. All right, so we're going to switch gears just a little bit. We're going to bring Brittany Gray up. She is the field director for Coordinating Campaign of Mississippi. Come on, blow your horns for Miss Gray. She's going to talk about some things that you can do. All right, Miss Gray.
How y'all doing out there? Keep blowing your horns, please. All right, blow your horns for Democrats. All right. Okay. All right. So in the next 60 days, we'll launch our final attempt to help Mike Espy, a leader for Mississippians, to become the next U.S. Senator of Mississippi. So on Tuesday, November the 3rd, we must encourage voters throughout the state of Mississippi to get out and vote for Mike Espy for Senate. You can help us reach this important goal. In the next 60 days, there are 6 ways to help. You can sign up to volunteer by visiting www.espyforsenate.com. However, the easiest way to sign up to volunteer is to take out your phones right now. Please take out your phones. You can text Mike, all capital letters, M-I-K-E, to 30411. Text Mike, M-I-K-E, to 30411. We currently have phone, text, writing postcards, and poll watcher volunteer positions available. Virtual text banks, meaning that you can send texts right from your home. Phone banks, making phone calls from your home. And writing postcards to encourage folks to turn out the vote. We also will look for poll watchers to work in your local polling precincts on Election Day. Like us on social media at Mike Espy MS on Twitter, at Mike Espy MS on Facebook, and the same on Instagram. Become a part of our Twitter or Facebook groups to help retweet or repost content that is important to our voters and supporters. You can learn more about Mike's platform at www.espyforsenate.com. And you can also donate to the campaign via espyforsenate.com. Get your churches, civic, and social groups involved. And also remember to register voters until October the 5th. Whether you have 2 minutes or 2 hours, thing that you do for this campaign brings us one step closer to moving Mississippi forward and to electing Democrats like Latrice Westbrooks, Benny Thompson. We need all of the support that we can to vote for all Democrats here in the state of Mississippi. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you.
All right, let's make some noise for Miss Gray one more time. Thank you very much. All right, so here's what I have learned. So I'm glad I didn't say toss the whole video away when I wanted to say it. So here's what I learned. It is actually streaming on Espy for Senate YouTube, Espy for Senate Facebook, and on the Espy for Senate website. All right, so it's actually streaming there. You just can't see it here. So at this time, we're going to toss to a video. We're going to welcome Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba, who is the mayor of the city of Jackson, and he's going to bring us greetings. Mayor Lumumba. Chokwe Antar. Chokwe Antar. All right. All right, so we're going to keep trying until we get this thing right from a technical aspect. So we appreciate your patience tonight. But even outside of those technical difficulties, we still have a job to do November the 3rd, right? We still have a job to do November 3rd, right? All right, so what the devil meant for bad, God can turn that thing around and do it for our good. So don't y'all forget that. All right, don't forget that. Right now, though, we're going to go to another place, the ballot for Tuesday, November the 3rd. This election is so important, and there's so many important races on the ballot. Now, here's what I understand. I understand historical context to its fullest, right? I understand when people talk about making history. I get all of that, and I think that has a place in this conversation. I think it's a unique conversation to have. I think it's a necessary conversation to have. But here's what I know beyond that. Latrice Westbrooks is intimately qualified to be the next justice on the Mississippi Supreme Court. Outside of being the first African-American female, I get that. But she is uniquely qualified to hold this seat. She has the passion, she has the knowledge, she has the empathy, she has the patience to really exercise her rule, her thoughts in governing. Please, let's welcome our next Mississippi Supreme Court Justice, Latrice Westbrooks.
Honk your horns, Mississippi, if you're ready for some change. I am Latrice Westbrooks, and I am running to become your next Supreme Court Justice here in Mississippi for the Central District. But not only that, I am the granddaughter of Webb, Mississippi natives. Before my grandmother could exercise her right to vote, before she could legally cast her vote, she had already given birth to 10 children and become the grandmother of two of my eldest cousins before she could even cast her first vote. She worked as a poll worker for years in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's from her that I learned civic engagement and the importance of voting. Ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, and particularly young people, ask me, why should we vote? Why should we care? And I tell them, see and look at what's happening in our country today. Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and now Jacob Blake. The decisions that are going to be made in those cases are going to be made by elected officials, are going to be made by people who are put into office, whether you vote or not. In Mississippi, your coroner is elected. The coroner is the person who decides whether or not your death is accidental, a suicide, or a homicide. The DA relies on the results of the coroner. The DA is elected. The attorney general is elected. Your judges are elected. Your judge is the person who decides whether or not somebody's going to actually sit on a jury or not. Your jury comes from registered voters. So if you're not a registered voter, you cannot sit on a jury. This is why you should care. Every judge in Mississippi is elected, to include your appellate court judges, to include your Supreme Court justice. That is why you should care. Those people determine whether or not a conviction will stand, a man will be going to his death, or a person who has evidence that should not come in against them can have their sentence and their conviction vacated. That is why you should care. So I'm asking you to care along with me on November 3rd and send me to the Supreme Court, because I, like you, come from a community of men and women who took the time to invest in our education, to invest in our upbringing, and to also invest in whether we are God-fearing people. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me, Latrice Westbrooks, in becoming your next Supreme Court Justice.
I thank you for this opportunity to come before you today.
I see a sign that says, honk for Democrats. I saw a sign that said, honk for Mike Espy. I didn't see this sign, but honk for change November 3rd. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, you know, in Mississippi, we've got some jewels, right? I think there are so many really, really, really good ambassadors for the state of Mississippi. Mississippi is so unique with the plethora of artists from all kinds of genres. I am so excited to be able to introduce you to Grammy Award winner, Bad Bobby Rush.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to talk to you a little about why I'm here. I'm here because of my friend, Mike Espy. I'm so happy that he didn't give up on the last time around. Now we got a good chance to show him that we love him even more. I know that Black life matters because I've been singing the blues almost all my life, but I've been Black all of my life. I've been Black for 86 years. And I'm begging you to go out and vote November 3rd because Black lives matter, but your vote matter most. Because when we vote, we can change a lot of things in this life. Somebody asked me, said, Bobby Rush, what you gonna do today? As a blues singer, they probably didn't know it. I'm on the church ground, but I'm a biblical study. I know when the Lord was doing his Lord's Supper, someone said, well, where the Lord's Supper is gonna be? One pastor in the Bible said, go down to the fork of the road, you see a man with a jug, follow him. And when you get to the upper room, the man upstairs will come down and take you up to the upper room. That tell me the man with the jug didn't know where he was going. So I'm the man with the jug today. I didn't know what I was going, what I was going to say. But I will say, if you vote, not only will it change your life, it'll change our life as a people. Someone asked me, so well, Bobby Rush, why do you sing the blues? Is it because your woman left you? Yes. But you can also have the blues if they stay too long. Let me show you what I mean about that. Have you ever been mistreated by someone you shouldn't have loved? Have you ever been mistreated by someone you shouldn't have loved? Out of all the men my woman could have left me for, she left me for the garbage man. No matter how bad the woman treated me, still can't get her love out of my mind. Oh, no matter how bad she treated me, still can't get it out of my mind. Every time I see a garbage can, I think about her and the garbage man all the time. If I ever get my woman to come back home, I'm gonna buy myself a garbage truck. If I ever get my woman to come back home, I'm gonna buy myself a garbage truck. When my garbage can get full, I'm gonna take it and dump it way out in the woods. How long? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about my 40 acres and my mule. Now that's the blues for you. Vote. Mr. Banks, thank you for your love and your prayers. Thank you. Vote. Mike is my man. He's your man too. He would take care and do what he said he's going to do. Thank you very much. Go out and vote.
Let's make some noise for Bad Bobby Rush. Grammy Award winner. A great ambassador for the state of Mississippi. We certainly appreciate you. We certainly do appreciate it. Make some more noise for Bobby Rush one more time. All right, so I think this is a great time to make another plea, right? So if you got a donation, if you want to make a contribution to the Espy for Senate campaign, just honk your horn, put your envelope out the window, and a volunteer will come by and pick it up. They're wearing Espy shirts. So be careful who you give it to. Like, don't give it to the lady with her arms out right there with the white mask on. Don't give it to that lady. She does not have on a Espy shirt, right? Give it to a person wearing an Espy shirt, all right? Honk, honk for donations. Honk, honk, honk for donations. All right, so listen, we're going to bring Jackie Amos up. Jackie is a part of the Espy for Senate campaign committee. She works in the area of outreach, and she's going to come and talk to us a little bit. Let's please welcome Jackie Amos.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I usually don't turn around when horns blow, but I need y'all to blow one more time. I like that. I'll be like that. Thank you all so much. As Other said, I am Director of Outreach. I also chair the Hinds County Democratic Executive Committee, and I am Mississippi's National Democratic Committee woman. So we are really excited. We're really excited about this election. I am pleased to be able to tell you that we have so many different things in place to assist and help in this victory, in these victories, for November 3rd. We have voter protection. For the first time in my memory, the state of Mississippi has a voter protection team, meaning your vote will count because we have people on the ground in all 82 counties rocking and rolling to make sure that your vote counts. So we won't have the sadness we had in 18, in 19, even in 16. November 3rd, we're looking toward victories up and down the ticket, starting with Vice President Biden, Kamala Harris, Mike Espy, Ms. Latrice Westbrooks. We have them, guys. We are ready to rock and roll. For the first time in a very long time, Mississippi's Democrats and independents. There are independents. There are folks right now that usually vote the other way that are going to vote with everybody that's in this parking lot right here, right? So that's a plus. That's right. You can honk for that. We got people that's changing their minds. That's right. That's right. So we are in voter registration mode. We're in voter registration mode. The voter registration deadline is October 5th. So anyone that has moved into a new neighborhood, if you have new neighbors, ask them if they have registered or changed their registration so that they can vote where they live so that their vote counts. That's really important. So we are asking, and I am asking each of you to be responsible for your own home, for your own street, for your own neighborhood, precincts, district. This is by far, we've had many, many important elections, but I think that you all will agree with me that if we don't do what we need to do November 3rd, then we are in for, I am on the church grounds, we're in trouble. Okay? We are in trouble. So we don't want to be in trouble. We need to get out, do what we need to do on November 3rd so that we can change and be the new change for Mississippi, be the change for the United States. Other countries are looking, other states are looking at us, and they're asking, what is Mississippi doing? Well, you are here, meaning you care. This is what Mississippi is doing. You could be any place else this evening, but you're right here in a drive-through, in a makeshift drive-in movie theater, looking at me until we get this going. But that is why you are so important. And that is why the Espy for Senate campaign appreciates you. So we are going to be knocking on your doors, calling your phone, sending text messages to your phone. So we are ready to rock and roll. Let's get Mike Espy elected on November 3rd, and let's do it. Hey, they want me to keep talking to you guys, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about volunteers. Those folks that you see around you with those T-shirts on, if you want to volunteer in any manner with the campaign, please let one of those folks know. They will get your information if they haven't already gotten it, and we will be calling you. We know that there's a pandemic, and and as you see, we have things in place. We have preventive measures, protective measures. But more than anything, we cannot let our vulnerable Mississippians miss the opportunity to vote. If there is anyone here or in the listening audience in a care home, nursing home, rehabilitation facility, meaning that's where they usually receive their ballots, their absentee ballot, because they're disabled, right? And they are no longer in those homes. Please notify the circuit clerk and let them know what that new address is, because if not, the ballot will go to the address that is on the application. The ballot will go to the address that they have on the application. So if there is a change, you all need to make sure that the circuit clerk knows that change and sends that absentee ballot where it needs to go. Also, tomorrow morning, those of you that may want to vote and need to vote absentee by mail, call the circuit clerk's office. Tell them what. Tell the deputy clerks why you need to vote. You need the application, and they will put you on a list. And September 21st, the ballot would be sent to you, and you will be able to vote and get that back. In on time. Preferably vote in person. Go to the courthouse. The county courthouses. Here in Hinds County, we have 2 county seats. We have 2 courthouses. One is in Jackson, the other is in Raymond. You can vote there at either one of them starting September 21st, all the way up to the last Saturday before the election. You can vote in person at the circuit clerk's office. If you're 65 and older, if you're going to be out of town on election day, if you will be working and won't be able to, if you are going to be in the hospital, you have doctor's appointments, those type of things, go ahead after September 21st, go down and go ahead and get your vote in and vote in person, and we'll have that out of the way. And take a few people with you. We seem to go and vote, but we never really pick up anybody else and take with us. So take 10, take 3, 4, 5, 10. But we have a job to do, and we are ready now. Y'all through hearing me? Here we come. Here comes Other. Ready to rock and roll? Let's do it.
All right, y'all hook your horns for Jackie Amos. I forgot that you were elected the Democratic National Committee woman. All right, so one thing that Jackie said that I thought was funny, if you're going to be in the hospital on Tuesday, November the 3rd, right? So, if you're going to be in the hospital, so if you're planning on that, make sure you get your vote in early. All right, so now listen, if they make me shame one more time about this video, I'm going to pick this podium up and toss it, all right? We're going to attempt to toss to the video again. Right now, we'll have greetings from Jackson's Mayor, Chokwe Antar Lumumba.
Greetings. This is Chokwe Antar Lumumba, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the drive-in rally in support of my friend Mike Espy. If we have learned nothing in recent months, we know that this is the most critical election of our time. It is important that we send someone to Washington who takes the concerns of Mississippi residents. If voting rights was the battle of the 20th century, the right to health care is most certainly the battle of the 21st. I know that my friend, Mike Espy, will take these issues and these concerns and fight for what we need in Washington. I want to thank the organizers of this event, most especially New Hope Baptist Church, for your creativity and your willingness to step up, as we know that we have an important fight ahead of us. Thank you, and once again, welcome.
All right, can y'all just rest on your horns for a little bit and shout because the video worked? Just rest, just hold it there for a moment. It worked! It worked! All right, all right. Now let's hope that's good luck and the next video works as well. Let's welcome Pastor C.J. Rhodes, who's a pastor of Mount Helm Baptist Church.
Hi, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this We Are Mississippi rally. Yesterday, the Mississippi State Flag Commission selected its preferred candidate for the next Mississippi state flag. That design will be on the November 3rd ballot. And it is a stately flag that all of us, all Mississippians, can be proud of. A symbol that does not quarantine us to the past, but gives us the hope for a better future. Friends, as much as we need to vote for that new flag, we don't simply need new symbols, we also need new substance in our policies, procedures, and what we do to give our state needs move from the bottom to the top. That's why I'm encouraged and excited to support Mike Espy and so many others represented tonight who represent the best of Mississippi. Those who will bring us together, not keep us divided. Those who will build bridges, not erect walls. I am convinced that we need that at this critical juncture. Leaders of character, integrity, and vision who can bring to us that which will advance the common good. As an old millennial, I, like many of my colleagues, left Mississippi, but I was called by the Lord to return. Yet I understand why so many of my friends go to former Confederate states for greater opportunity and success. Why can't we have greatness here? Why must we settle for least and last? Why must we be mastered by mediocrity? I believe that now is the time for us to not only appeal to our better angels, but to dream big. It is time for us to soar. And I believe that with Mike Espy, we can do just that. We can soar with social innovation that allows us to apply creative solutions to our perennial problems. We can soar by providing greater access and opportunity to those who want a better future, not a scarcity economy. We can soar with aspirational leaders who help us to believe that we are not grasshoppers, we are rather giants. We can soar by making sure that every part of Mississippi, such as the Delta and the Pine Belt, have the resources they need to succeed. I believe that with Mike Espy and with those gathered here today, we will indeed soar. And I am encouraged because I know it can be daunting. Loving Mississippi sometimes when she doesn't love you back can be challenging. But as the prophet Isaiah said, the youths will grow weary. The young people will utterly fall, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Beloved, as we come together, work together, pray together, and vote together, Mississippi can soar. May God bless you, and may God bless the great state of Mississippi.
All right, let's make some noise for Pastor C.J. Rhodes one more time. I thought he was going to break out in song, loving somebody and somebody does not love you back. I thought that's where he was going with that song. That's what I thought. All right, so listen, there's been a lot of talk across the country about expanding Medicaid, right? There's been a lot of talk about expanding Medicaid. In fact, a couple of states who we thought would not do it, they've actually done it. But as you would guess, Mississippi still has not done that, right? Now is the time to expand Medicaid, particularly with this pandemic going on. There are a lot of African Americans and people in general with pre-existing conditions, right? Mike Espy knows a little bit about pre-existing conditions and the need to expand Medicaid and the need to reopen a lot of these rural hospitals that have been closed. He knows that firsthand. In fact, he experienced that. We're going to go to video now and let him tell you a personal story.
Well, I was born in Yazoo City, Mississippi, a small town of about 17,000 people. I was born a twin. My twin sister Michelle was born perfectly healthy. Her twin brother Mike came out just a little bit ill. I was born with chronic asthma. It was awful. So bad that one day I got a severe asthma attack, and I began to become comatose. And the story is told that I was about 5 years old, maybe 6, and my father picked me up and threw me over his shoulder and rushed me to the hospital that my grandfather built in 1924, the Afro-American Sons and Daughters Hospital. Back in those days, there was no ambulance service, no EMT service in the black neighborhood. There was nobody you could call, but there was no oxygen available. They tell me my extremities became blue and I stopped breathing. But there were some nurses and they joined around my bedside and held hands and prayed for me as if they were administering last rites. But my father rushed over to the white hospital called King's Daughters, which was about 3 blocks away, and begged them for an available canister of oxygen for his dying son. And they gave it to him. He rushed back to Afro-American Sons and Daughters and put me on that ventilator and hooked me up to oxygen, and I'm here today. When you look at that episode and then project it into modern days, I'm somebody who will be on the front line to make sure that we have Medicaid expansion in places like Mississippi without it. In fact, there was an African-American young woman in North Mississippi recently, last year, who had an asthma attack, and she was accustomed to going to the rural hospital about 6 miles away. That hospital had closed, and she died in 2019 of an asthma attack. A lot of these hospitals have closed because many of them in low-income areas where those folks cannot pay their medical bills, and because they can't pay their medical bills, they remain unpaid. So there's the issue of uncompensated care. And those rural hospitals have this vacuum of expense. I'm just dedicated to coming up with a way to expand Medicaid in Mississippi. We need it. We should have had it a decade ago. And when I get to the U.S. Senate, I'm going to be the one to bring it here.
Y'all can do better than that. This man is talking about expanding Medicaid. We need it. Mississippi needs that. Mississippi absolutely needs them. I think we've got to send somebody to the United States Senate that understands the needs of Mississippians and who will put Mississippi first, and that person is Mike Espy. You know, Mike is committed to helping everybody. You know, after coming off an election in 2018, Mike never took a break. You know, he didn't stop. He kept working, but he kept working for other people and getting other people elected, helping to campaign for other people, knocking doors for other people. One person that he did that for is Representative Shonda Yates. He represents Mississippi House District 64 in North Jackson. We're going to greet her because she's going to come to us live via video. Let's make some noise for Representative Shonda Yates.
This is Representative Shonda Yates. I'm excited to vote Mike Espy for U.S. Senate this November because I know that Mike cares about the needs of all Mississippians. Mike understands the importance of growing our state's economy by bringing in high wage earning careers that will attract and keep our young. This is Representative Shonda Yates. I'm excited to vote Mike Espy for U.S. Senate this November because I know that Mike cares about the needs of all Mississippians. Mike understands the importance of growing our state's economy by bringing in high wage earning careers that will attract and keep our youngest generations of Mississippians. Mike also understands the need to support small businesses that are the backbone of this state. Mike recognizes that expanding healthcare access to Mississippians must be done in order to save lives across this state. I know that Mike is committed to doing each of these things, and I'm excited to see Mike move Mississippi forward. Join me in voting Mike for Mississippi on November the 3rd. I know that Mike is committed, and I'm excited to see Mike move Mississippi forward. Join me in voting Mike for Mississippi on November the 3rd. This is Representative Shonda Yates. I'm excited to vote Mike Espy for U.S. Senate this November because I know that Mike cares about the needs of all Mississippians. Mike understands the importance of growing our state's economy by bringing in high wage earning careers that will attract and keep our youngest generations of Mississippians. Mike also understands the need to support small businesses that are the backbone of this state. Mike recognizes that expanding healthcare access to Mississippians must be done in order to save lives across this state. I know that Mike is committed to doing each of these things, and I'm excited to see Mike move Mississippi forward. Join me in voting Mike for Mississippi on November the 3rd. I know that Mike is committed to doing each of these things, and I'm excited to see Mike move Mississippi forward. Join me in voting Mike for Mississippi on November the 3rd. I know that Mike is committed to doing each of these things.
All right, so we were batting about right until now. Come on, make some noise. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're in this virtual space, and we're learning as we go. So we do appreciate our Representative Shonda Yates for speaking on behalf of our next United States Senator from the great state of Mississippi, Mike Espy. We certainly do appreciate her. Here's what I know for sure, though. I feel a shift. How many of you feel a shift coming November 3rd? How many of you feel a shift coming November 3rd? I feel a shift coming November 3rd. And the man to help usher that shift in is here with us tonight. We don't have to depend on video for that. The man that can usher that shift in. Again, you got one job November 3rd, but you got to vote the ballot all of the way down. I am excited. That's right. All the way down. All the way down. All the way down. You got to vote it all the way down. But Mike is going to usher in the spirit of shift, right? The spirit of shift, because the shift, I believe, is going to happen November the 3rd. So I am honored, I am excited to bring a man on the stage who absolutely needs no introduction, right? He described his campaign in one word the other day, and he simply said, ready. He is absolutely ready. Doesn't need on-the-job training. He is ready to lead from day one. All right, you ready to get on those horns and make some noise for the next senator from the great state of Mississippi? Make some noise for Mike Espy!
Hello, Mississippi. Welcome to the We Are Mississippi rally, where we're going to show the nation what new Mississippi looks like. I want to thank all of you for driving in tonight. I want to thank all of those listening and viewing over the various social media platforms. I want to thank you for being here, because with COVID still in Mississippi, we have to improvise. With COVID here in Mississippi, we have to be creative about how we gather. So honk your horns if you can hear me. All right. I want to make sure you can hear me, because I'm going to tell you things tonight about Sinai Smith, about her version of the old Mississippi, my version of the new Mississippi, and what we're going to do. First of all, I want to thank 601 Live Band. I want to thank Bobby Rush. I want to thank Bobby Rush, who we know suffered from coronavirus, and he has recovered. I want to thank all of the faith leaders, Reverend Rose and Reverend Lowry. I want to thank my friend Over Gang, who always fills in when we need him. I want to thank Judge Tyree Irving, Representative Shonda Yates, Mayor Lumumba, and Stacey Abrams, who will be beaming in after I finish. Also want to thank Latrice Westbrooks and also Congressman Benny Johnson. We'll be on the ballot. We need you to vote for him as well. Now, to Reverend Jerry Young and to the family at New Hope Baptist Church, I want to thank them for their many kindnesses and for your recognition that you can marry the sacred. Hold the horns. Hold the horns. Don't put that up. Jerry Young says you can marry the sacred with the sacred. So we're going to talk about now Christianity in public service. So I want to take my direction from Matthew 25:35. And it says, I was hungry, you gave me to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me to drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Now, what does that mean in public policy? Caring for the sick means Medicaid expansion. Feeding the hungry means these food boxes that we've been giving out all over Mississippi. Giving a drink means bringing water to rural Mississippi. And taking me in, well, that is a metaphor for attacking injustice in all of its many forms. Well, whether it's in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and to bring healing to the broken places. That is why I'm running for the United States Senate, not just to be something, but to do something. So tonight, for the next little while, I want to discuss with you who I am, what I want to do, and how my vision of the future differs from that of Senator Cindy I. Smith. Now, we are in this parking lot of a church, and we can look and see this fire of a cross.
And most of us are Christians. So I want to say to you that I know Senator Smith, yes, she's a Christian as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that is where the similarity is. I know Mississippi has changed. I think about how hard won that change has been. I grew up in Jim Crow. We had colored water fountains, white water fountains. When I went to the dress shop, she had to buy that dress after she tried it on because they would tell her, Willie Jean, no white woman will buy a dress after you tried it on. I remember sitting in the garage of Dr. Maria's office. My mother and I sat in the garage with a white patient of her medical office, which was in her home, went through the front door. I remember sitting in that garage amidst fields of gasoline dust and turpentine. Or I remember Jim Crow. I remember integrating my high school, Kansas City High School, after our old black Catholic school closed. I went to that white school, 18 black students, among 700 white students. Every day I was called the N-word, so much that I thought it was my middle name. But like so many Mississippians, I overcame those challenges to fight for progress. Why? Because I love Mississippi. So I'm not saying all of this to make anyone feel guilty, but I am telling this because we have to acknowledge what went on before so they could never be repeated again. When I went to the Congress in 1986, we won not because entrenched interests support us, but because people came out. We reached across the aisle, across racial lines, in a way that no one ever expected. And in 1986, I became the first black person since Reconstruction to be elected to the United States Congress. You can also. In Congress, I worked tirelessly for programs to solve the problems in our state. Here is just one. When I was a freshman, I wrote a bill to lift poverty in Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta, and all the areas along the Mississippi River that suffered from the misery index, low wages, low unemployment, generational poverty, and grinding levels of educational attainment. As a freshman, that bill passed the House of Representatives. I ran over to the Senate. I got Senator Cochran and Senator Stennis to join me on that bill. I got Jamie Whitten to fund that bill. And then I went to the White House, and Ronald Reagan, President of the United States, revered Republican, signed that bill. As a freshman, I did that. What do you think I'm gonna do now? When I was at the Department of Agriculture, when I served as cabinet secretary to Bill Clinton, I never left my Mississippi roots. At USDA, I brought running water to every home in America, Appalachia, Alabama Black Belt, Oklahoma Ozarks, and yes, to the Mississippi Delta. The most revealing thing in 1993 as USDA secretary, I went to a little country shack outside of a place called Cool Springs in Fayette, Mississippi. And I went into the kitchen of that country shack and I picked up this little black girl, age 3 or 4, and I stood beside her and her grandmother. And that little girl turned on the faucet in her grandmother's kitchen, for the first time in any of their lives. And I watched the warm water trickle over her little fingers. And I was filled with satisfaction. And I remember thinking, that is why we serve. That little girl was black, but she could have just easily have been white, because it doesn't matter to me. Poor has no race, and poverty has no color. Black or white. In the last 2 decades, I've led a large nonprofit here in Mississippi. We finance first-time homeowners. And we build hospitals in medically underserved areas. And now, as we move into the 3rd decade of the 21st century, here we are in Mississippi, still last in healthcare, last in education, last in job opportunities. We're still last. We have least, and too often we make do with less. And I am sick of it. Are you sick of it? It's become clearer to me that in the last 2 years, Senator Cindy Hyde Smith has held Mississippi back. She jokes about public hangings. She jokes about voter suppression. She glorifies Confederate symbols. She failed to support changing the flag. So look, she says she loves Mississippi. I say I love Mississippi. But she loves the Mississippi of the old. She loves the Mississippi of the bygone days. I love the Mississippi of the future. So come with me, Mississippi. She jokes about voter suppression. You remember when she said, just maybe we ought to make voting more difficult at the other universities. So I ask her tonight, with 60 days to go in this race, so which Mississippi universities were you talking about? I want everyone to be able to vote, everyone, free and unfair, because I know that this franchise belongs to all of us, not some of us, not most of us, but all of us. It was Mississippi that the son of the USDA Figaro County agent who studied under George Washington Carver could go on to become the first Black Secretary of Agriculture. It was in Mississippi in July that I saw a mosaic of people peacefully marching this summer. A peaceful march led by young people. The overwhelming majority of them wearing masks. A huge march without violence, but with energy, passion, and purpose. But right now in Kenosha, Wisconsin, there's marching, good marching, justifiable marching, because Jacob Blake is paralyzed in a hospital bed, shot 7 times in the back, while his children watch from that car. After his operation, Jacob Blake was handcuffed to his hospital bed despite being paralyzed. So yes, there's concern, and yes, there are marches. So you may ask me, why is someone running for Mississippi talking about something that happened in Wisconsin? Why is someone who wants to run for Senate worried about something happening in another state? I'll tell you why. A senator from Mississippi is also a senator of the United States. And so, we got against injustice, whether it's in Kenosha or Kent, Madison or Minneapolis, Portland or Pascagoula, wherever injustice rears its ugly head, we must speak. And so that's why we're here in this parking lot today. But I have to say what Joe Biden said, what Al Sharpton said, what the NAACP said, what the mother of Jacob Blake said, that violence, we don't need that. Violence is not protest. Burning is not protest. Stealing from stores is not protest. It only devalues the cause and undermines the case for social justice. That doesn't do George Floyd any good, Lamar Arbery any good, Breonna Taylor any good, and Jacob Blake any good. That's why we need leaders who will denounce hate and violence in all of its many forms. Leaders who will work for unity and for healing. That is why I'm so pleased that we took down that Confederate flag. So here again is another difference between me and Sidney Hyde Smith, the senator. Here's the difference. I will speak out. I will answer questions. I will tell you my thoughts, whether it's on Kenosha, on the flag, or what the problems are in Mississippi. But Senator Hyde Smith, well, she reads what is written for her. She votes as she is told. When people push papers toward her, she reads what's on the paper written by someone else. And when she speaks, it's usually in halting equivocation. Now, 2020 was a tough year for Mississippi. It's not over, but it's been tough. We still have a global pandemic searing through our state and a consequential economic crisis. To be clear, this did not have to happen this way. I know it. It happened because of the vacuum of leadership at the top. This happened because of dithering, because of denial, because of delay from the very top. Senator Smith suggested that this pandemic would be over in a couple of weeks. That was back in March. Here we are in September. 6 months, she said it'd be over. In this devastating crisis, she's nowhere to be found. That's why she's saying nothing. She voted to take money out of the workers' pockets during this pandemic. And after a shutdown that was uneven and uncoordinated, she pushed to reopen everything. She rushed to do it before the doctor said it was safe. So look, ladies and gentlemen, this virus is still among us, and we don't have a vaccine. Dr. Fauci says it may not be here until next year, and the repercussions will be long-lasting. So here's the deal. We need a Mississippian in the Senate who will be an independent voice, who will follow science, who will follow medical advice. A senator who will be accessible to everyone and anyone all the time and not be afraid to make hard decisions. So here is what we're going to do when we win. We're ready right now to build the broadest, deepest, widest coalition of voters in the state. All people of goodwill. I want them to vote for me, follow me, to hope with me for a better future for our state. I want Mississippi to be the state of promise and for progress. I'm ready for the Mississippi Senate seat because I want all Mississippians to have access to affordable health care. We're crushed by premiums. We're crushed by co-pays. We're crushed by the cost of prescription drugs. We're crushed because too many of our hospitals are closing. You saw the asthma story. I don't need to go through it again. I was saved because My father rushed from the black hospital that didn't have any oxygen to the white hospital. And because two white nurses overcame their moral conviction, they gave him the oxygen. And I'm alive today because of my father, because of two white nurses, because of two rural hospitals, because of the Lord Jesus. I'm standing today. But we don't need last year another person to also have died from asthma, 60 years apart. My situation and her situation, all because an emergency room closed, all because of a lack of Medicaid expansion. So my number one priority when I step on the floor of the U.S. Senate is for Medicaid. Why? California has it. Massachusetts has it. We're paying for them. Why? Because Missouri has it. Oklahoma has it. And we're paying for them. Why? We are cutting off our nose despite our face. I'm running to reverse the brain drain in Mississippi. I'm running to keep our people. I'm running to keep our young people from going to other states, seeking greener pastures. I'm running them to uplift all the people of Mississippi, to uplift their capacity. Working people, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter to me. I want to make everybody become self-sufficient. I'm ready for the Senate for quality education. I'm ready for the Senate to fully fund public schools. We should pay our teachers better. And public funds should only go to public schools. So, as I begin to take my seat and conclude this practice, I want to leave you with a couple thoughts. Let's pray for Jacob Blake. Let's pray for his healing. Let's pray for peaceful marches. Let's condemn marches that morph into something more, like the guy that came from Illinois, strapped with an AR-15, killed two white folks. He should never have left his couch in Illinois. There should never have been a dog whistle. If there was one, he should never have listened. So here as I conclude, in 60 days, is a time that Mississippi will turn the page on its history of being least and last and having less. In 60 days, we can write a new chapter in Mississippi together. In 60 days, we can create a Mississippi that will be not a Mississippi that was. So I'm blessed to you. When I go to the U.S. Senate, I'll be an independent voice for you. I will be a voice who listens only to you. No one can tell me how to vote. No one can tell me what to say. No one can tell me what to think. I pledge to you that I will do everything like I've done it all my life. I will work across the partisan aisle with Republicans and with Democrats, because I don't believe that Democrats have all the right answers, and I don't believe that Republicans have all the wrong answers. I'm going to vote for all the right answers. So I pledge to you tonight in this parking lot, if you pray for me, if you vote for me, if you march with me, if you hold my hand, literally and figuratively, vote on November 3rd. We're going to vote out the whole Mississippi. We're going to vote in the new Mississippi. And I'm going to go to Washington. I'm going to serve you there. And I will be very best city that Mississippi has ever had. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all make some noise for the next senator from the great state of Mississippi, Mike Espy. Make some noise! That's what I'm talking about. We need change, and change is coming November 3rd. I think it's time now to talk to another video via live stream tonight. The next voice that we are going to hear.
Hello, everyone. It is such an honor to be here with you tonight to celebrate the coming election of our next senator from the great state of Mississippi, Mike Espy. Mike Espy is not only my friend, he is someone I look up to, someone I've known about for most of the time I've been thinking about voting and voting rights, because he's an emblem of what we need to see, not only in the White House and not only in Congress, but the kind of leadership we need in a democracy. We know that if we send Mike Espy to Washington, D.C., he can be an ally to the next president of the United States, Joe Biden, and more importantly, he can be an advocate for the needs of the great state of Mississippi. I tell folks I came of age in Georgia, but I grew up in Mississippi. I grew up in Gulfport, and my parents are natives of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And they raised me to understand that there are three responsibilities we had. We had to go to church, go to school, and take care of each other. Go to church because our faith was supposed to be a shield to defend others, never a sword to strike them down. They taught us about the importance of education because it's transformative, because it's a passport to new worlds and new opportunities. And they taught us to take care of each other because they wanted us to understand it was more than just taking care of our 5 brothers and sisters. It was about taking care of our community. And that's what Mike Espy has done every single day of his adult life. That is who he is, and it's what he's shown us for so long. But he's also shown us a courage of conviction and a courage of vision. His willingness to see around corners and know, even before the state of Mississippi knew it, that it was time for its racist past to be put to bed, and it was time for a new Mississippi to rise, one that sees every single person in that state as worthy of being an American, as worthy of being served. So as you all vote on a new flag this coming November, you're also going to be voting on the emblem of what Mississippi intends to be. And we can be the kind of state that we see Cindy Hyde-Smith talking about, a state mired in the past, mired in discrimination, mired in doing only for itself. Or Mississippi can be a state that says we see everyone, we believe in everyone, and we serve everyone. Mike Espy is a man who has done nothing but serve because he understands that we grow, we rise, we lead together. And this is an election where we can tell America that Mississippi is a force to be reckoned with. We can show America that with Mike Espy as the next U.S. Senator, that Mississippi is a state where COVID will not defeat our opportunities, where our recovery will lift everyone and won't be targeted to a handful of folks who are okay doing well already. And we're going to show the world that Mississippi is a leader, that Mississippi is ready to be everything that we know it can be, because we know who we are and we know whose we are. We are a state that is committed to justice and righteousness. That for every terrible story and terrible tale of civil rights violations, we have heroes and heroines of every race, of every creed, of every stripe that have stood up and said, we see more, we see better, and we are going to make it so. But to get there on November 3rd, we need you. We need you, number one, to make a plan to vote. Voting doesn't just happen, and we know that we are living in a time where there are those who are determined to make sure your voices don't count. Mississippi allows vote by mail for some populations, and if you are in that number, make certain you plan to vote by mail. Make certain that you do what you need to do to protect your family, but do everything you can to make a plan to vote by mail. And if you can't vote by mail, then make a plan to get to your polling place. Don't just think, oh, I'll get it done on November 3rd. Know how you're going to get it done and know who you're going to help get it done for themselves. Because we can't afford to vote alone this election. In 2018, Mike Espy showed America what was possible in Mississippi. And but for a mere 35,000 votes, we would be talking to the great senator. We would be talking about our great senator from the state of Mississippi. But we got a do-over in 2020. And in 2020, we are going to show America what can be done. But that means that not only do we need to make a plan to vote, you need to plan not to vote alone. But number two, we need people to work the polls. Election workers are going to be vital in this race more than any other. Because of COVID-19, we know that the traditional folks who do poll working, who sit behind those election tables, may not be available. Unfortunately, the average age is above 60, and they are the most susceptible to COVID, but we know the problem, so we can fix it now. I encourage every one of you to reach out to find out if you can become a poll worker. If you go to powerthepolls.com, you can sign up to be a poll worker. And if you have some young people who want to make a little extra money, make sure they do it too. Don't let them shut down polling places because they say they couldn't find good workers. Be there, be ready, not only to cast your vote, but to count the votes and make sure every vote gets counted. Number three, we need to protect the vote. I'm going to give you a number. I need you all to put in your phones right now. I know you're not driving, so you can put it in your phone. 855-443-3020. 855-443-3020. That is the number for the voter protection hotline in Mississippi. I was proud of the work that we were able to do in Mississippi starting last year, helping to build an infrastructure that can help protect the right to vote, but we need your help. I need you to write that number down, and then I need you to text it to everyone who lives in the state of Mississippi who might face a challenge with voting, because we are not going to let them silence us or steal our power by stopping our votes. We are all in for this democracy, and that means we have to have the right to be heard. And if someone tries to stop us, we need to fight back in that moment. We also need you to understand there's a website. If you have questions, if you need more information, go to msdpvoterprotection.com. That's MS as in Mississippi, DP as in Democratic Party, voterprotection.com, msdpvoterprotection.com. By going to that website, you can learn about what's possible, you can learn about the challenges, and you can learn how you can step up and help. Mike gave us an extraordinary list of the things he wants to do to help move Mississippi forward. And I'm coming here from Georgia because I know that when we lift up Mississippi, we lift up the South. And when we change the South, we change America. We have an opportunity with this election to show America how diverse we are, how deliberate we are, and how determined we are to lead the future. Mike Espy is the man we need, and this is his moment. This is our moment. Mississippi is filled with opportunities for change. We are seeing that happen on the state flag, and we're going to see it happen in the polling booths when we elect Mike Espy to stand for the great state of Mississippi. Because when he gets to DC, he doesn't just bring the hopes and dreams of Mississippians with him, he brings the future with him. And he's going to do his level best to ensure that healthcare is right in Mississippi, that education is right in Mississippi, that those who need a second chance get a second chance in Mississippi, that the economy recovers for all of Mississippi, that we have opportunity in the great state of Mississippi. But we can't do that by magic. It can only be done when we put our fingers to the pulse of the state and pull down that lever, and we elect Mike Espy as the next great senator from the state of Mississippi, because the future is ours and we're going to claim it. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much, Mississippi. Let's get it done.